good. Guy called me. Whether anyone. That may be a problem. I see me. We. I'll be doing it. Well, I do. Well, they were talking. Okay. Then they said, well, there you go. Full 360 you get to. Yeah, I explained all this. I think it's massive. I haven't thought.
Tom, we start the meeting, bro. Donkey, finally to talk.
Hey. I'm answering my clients.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Mayor is out tonight, so yeah, have a lighthouse alderman present, but I think we can get through what we need to. So first order of business is
allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, Really injustice.
And I think the city administrator has a introduction.
Yes, I'd like to call Mr. Todd Stryler up to our podium. So before I have Todd introduce something a little bit about himself, Todd has been hired as our new planning development manager. It's a position that we've not had specifically. Have a position that it's like this position kind of came out of conversation about like we would do house related planning and development processes, applications for site plans, rezoning, PDs, all of those things that right now we do on an outside. Never had anybody in-house to cover that process, manage the process, do the things the planning professional often to do. Area site. Reading. Todd is a long history of planning. Perfect opportunity. Process. That process. But I'll let Todd introduce himself as having a long history.
Hello, members of the board, city staff. Good to see you tonight. I'm Todd Stryler, and as James mentioned, I'll be serving as the Planning and Development Manager. I'll have this right here on the main floor. And way back when I got a degree in architecture and realized that it was actually the planners and the folks that were developing the zoning codes and the rules and procedures that actually created the cities or made the cities look the way they did. So I started getting into planning and urban design. I became certified with the American Institute of Certified Planners, as well as LEED certified, which is Leadership of Energy and Environmental Design. And so with those qualifications, I worked for the city of Chesterfield. I was a senior planner down there, and I started their architectural review program, created their ARB, which is Architectural Review Board, and all their design regs, which were copied by Creve Coeur and several other West County municipalities. And then I started working with the public or private sector, worked with Bucher Willis and Ratliff Corporation out of Kansas City, and worked with our very own Arcturus, which is a St. Louis architectural firm. And then in about 2007, I created my own firm, Stryler Planning. And one of the things that I specialized in was providing planning advisory services to municipalities just like Dardenne Prairie, and actually enjoyed working for several adjacent cities here, Weldon Spring. Worked with Mike Cadell and the staff there for several years, providing on-call planning support. Did everything from review all their new site plans to rewrote their comprehensive plan and zoning code. I also have experience working with some other area communities, Forestell and Innsbrook. And so over the years, I've received awards for my unique engagement tactics and programs for public engagement for a plan I did for Baldwin, Missouri, and also won a plan of the year for a comprehensive plan I did for Poplar Bluff. Right now, I'm very happy to be a full-time employee with Dardenne Prairie, and look forward to, again, assisting James and staff with doing all the day-to-day, what we call current planning, reviewing all the new development plats and so forth. And then, of course, looking into whatever updates we could do to the zoning code. These are all things that I've got 25 years experience doing, as well as possibly looking at this visioning exercise that PGAV is doing, and what that might look like if it is adopted into our comprehensive plan. And if so, or if not, what kind of adjustments or updates will we need to do to our comprehensive plan? So again, all of these tasks that are really at some point will be going on at Garden Prairie are things that James and I could work on in-house as opposed to going out to outside consultants. I've got two boys. One that just finished. He's got a marketing degree from Cincinnati. And my youngest is in his senior year at University of Cincinnati in the DAP program, which is Design, Architecture, and Planning. He did an internship with the St. Louis County Department of Planning, and things go well. Hopefully he'll get a job with St. Louis County. If not, hopefully he'll take over Stryler Planning and be prosperous and be another local planner. Does anybody have any questions of me or?
I have Bearcat.
No, why Bearcat? They really like the school. Their guitar teacher went there and said that it's a great music town. It's very much like St. Louis. And the older brother went there, and the younger brother just applied there and only there. Both had great programs. The thing that really turned them on is they have a mentoring program. So most of the degrees there require internships or mentoring with actual firms and companies. My son did an internship with a packaging company doing marketing for them. They had never had a marketing division or position, and they actually used him throughout his senior year as a consultant, and then hired him right after he graduated. I don't even think he put together a resume, but it's a great school.
Question. Will be attending.
Well, when they have the agenda, as you know, the last two meetings, they haven't had an agenda, but yes, I will be there. And I believe Kim will be going there with me. So it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'll be going to P&Z meetings. Again, presenting staff reports. We will be meeting in December, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you know this, but the Prairie Encore, they're proposing some amendments to their final plan and area plan. So we'll be doing a public hearing and going through that process, which you guys will probably see in January. It's all tentative. We just received their amended plan last Thursday. We were off Friday, but Tom and I are still reviewing that. Well, that's a mission critical. I mean, if they address all our concerns, that's the track we have them on. But if they don't, or they have issues, the delay that they would be in command of their own schedule. We plan on posting the site this week. So if they are ready, they would be able to go in December. If not, I guess we would do a continuance for the public hearing. It's minor changes, but according to our code, they're over 5%, and it's over a 5% increase in commercial floor area. So they have to go through the process all over. All right. Well, thank you. Look forward to working with you all.
On to items for discussion. And I want to preface this with an appreciation for staff who talked. But I need to get the budget for the get earlier in direction. Get everyone on the same page. Take it away.
Right. So I'll start off with, just so you're aware, and you look at the previous budget. One of the things that I'd like to see. Start being this budget. Form that will. Sounds like it's something that you have to. We give you a pretty good. That being said, there's, ways that they like to see information presented. Requirements. Which is, next budget. To help us, that direction going on. Hopefully, have a very good document. That be resonant. That not just are, but how that affects goals. As I'll start though just with that cover page that goes over the revenues and expenditures. So find all of our revenue, all the companies, and then all expenditures based on our categories, departments. I'll point out a few things because there's a lot of variations, especially in the last few years. Significant amount of one-time monies. Obviously, possibilities, which is more projects. So there's money. Also, the usability. Excuse me, of the athletic facility. So I think that might not be. But then when we got the bond issue. $5 million plus. That obviously. There's some one-time monies that make things difficult to. Expenses are balances, but I'll just point that out. So the general revenue. This part the last few years. Steady. Revenues. Was one-time money. As the bidding extras, expected like stormwater. They will be one time last year. Time that was during the special revenue fund, you'll see there's some fluctuation here because that money is on this one. We do the transportation fund. That didn't even exist until we got properties passed. So you see a partial year as the tax to effect. Now we're up to elections. This year we're expecting to probably $1,000 in this year to date. Obviously, that basically election. ARPA money last year, you might recall that we talked about the ARPA money. Bang away. Funds. Had been conversations about trying to claw back ARPA money, which is plus we just like to leave that. As we received less than $10 million. Opted for the not in objects. Taking this back to the loss of revenue. Our capital improvement fund, you'll see the revenues have been slightly declined. Don't know right now. I think paradigm. Nothing beyond mind. Possibly. didn't really mention that. Betty. Go down and look at some of our expenditures, building and grounds, you see making investments. These we can go fund by funds. Probably the biggest use you'll see is spending a little bit less in city operations. That later, I'm gonna see that's last several years. Mayor. Really is. Last few years, we've not actually tapped into allocating. Really is just a placement. Current total MTV, they were a few years ago. Last few years, 75 half. You'll see those actions. That we'll talk about that in just a minute. Healthcare, gains. We should have harder numbers. And we'll go through actuals, but lower than our budget, which you'll notice when we go budget here. Really don't have no increase. Budget. As we actually do. Just so you can kind of see the total expenditures. That's with capital. That is about 1. That's revenue. That is. Part of the city's policy. Down some unreserved fund balance. Down to. How much money we have. Some people use it, the term reserves. Policies. Budget. Right now. Want to go on to the next page, you'll see the fund balances. This is where you can. You see, it really hasn't gone down. Total fund balances for them. Down. Bumps. Bumps. This page here. Showing. Expenditures. So there's going to be some expenditure of fund balance, as I said. Balance. Those, a lot of that is really. Because there's so many different jobs to do. This body. Yes. Typically, as a policy, we like to. Unrestricted funds. General revenues, unrestricted fund. That money on pumps from water. Expenses that comes to ops fund. Some money. Ops. special revenue fund. And use, opportunity. Opposition. Transportation. ARPA, which one-time funding. The Bryan Road ID. We're using that out because that. I'll be collecting the additional funds. 5 million balances the balances. Keep it within bounds. And capital. Larger scale. Infrastructure projects. Any questions about revenues or expenditures? Which fund? Which fund? First ones are revenues. All right, first, if you look at the general revenue budget, you'll see these are all the things. You'll see that sales tax, we're expecting a little bit of a bump in sales tax this year. Just number of actions. Makes it up. Maybe some investment. Opportunity. Realistic and personal property tax. We never. Publish that number. BuzzFeed. But the fact that right now, the discussion is that's don't really know where that's. Then everything else you see. Licenses. A lot of that. I need to think about this. Building permits, we can just. Elements. A lot of the homes have already been underway. We have to sure. The permits. There are some things in here which they don't the executive choice. Just this year you'll see, or that's also. Fund balance. Who knows what interest rates are going to do? $1,000. It's like COVID reimbursement, we don't expect to get any more. Kind of pothole program that was in that was the. From the county to help with. Fines and forfeitures. Know the officer wrote 55 tickets against rail on times last year. He's probably, we don't want you to bet on that, so $1,000. Fines. Table for the next year. Things like parks and reservations, there's a few that we want to talk, and that's largely because last year parks things that has to that so far. I guess likes when we we start with our previous. Go to now, just to show you, we can do this legally. I just want you to notice we have a under general revenue and recognition department. As that money comes from, we make the so keep that money in general, like I said, under number money and unrestricted anything. If we were to put it in parks, we have a dedicated parks tax, which helps offset all parks money. That will next fund, the next page, parks is one. You'll see that we're expecting, we're trending for about $100,000 this year. $1,000 next year. Revenues are parks. That money is the number of improvements in the parks, and then also helps pay for our parks. Staff person also helps to pay a portion of public works staff. Next, you'll see the cops. We didn't issue any this last year. We have been issuing it next year. We're required to have the last activity fund. You'll see an activity, that's the last activity. Bonds. Special revenue fund, you'll see that's where our tax goes. Also where we get some of our monies from stuff. Project last year. This past year, we also had a little bit of our thus far expenses. Next year. Out to that. That's what we're sure this. We also have some next year. Next year. Council. Project. On the next one, we'll get a revenue transportation sales tax revenue. Again, it's $0.005. Amount of money you should get from $0.005, which is about $750,000. After that, review. ARPA fund. I mean, things can change, but I'm not holding my breath with the fence to do this. That we have the prime fund. That out, so have to keep that on our books again because it's been a couple of years of activity, possibly. I'm expecting that fund this year. Our next fund would be the capital improvement sales tax fund and $0.005. It's like I ended to get something. Think about the absence of taxes. You'll see, I'm waiting to hear back. That's what we did. I'll let you know, my report. With the bids for Stump Road. I did not put anything into the Stump Road. I wanted to visit. How would you have action? It tells us. This would be. First. So is there any more questions about revenues? We'll move on to. Question of how to come up with methodologies.
Significant questions, but just the capital improvement sales tax, 5%, and there's the interest, just. Looks like. Interest is. Touched on earlier with, there's some specific reason. There's some rapid different interest. There, what do we do different?
Is there anything, I know that you've been chopping out some. Is there anything specific on you? Not on some of these? Or did you actually hit Jeff? on some?
Best of luck.
More money.
And the mayor didn't really spread out the data. They looked at, these are pretty secure. The other thing with buying.
What's
Some very
impressive?
high yielding, some very high yielding, and we put more things in high yielding. Investments.
Great job. However it was, and chat more if I'm curious, but, whatever the plan is, it's.
I think he
I'm interested to know.
wants to give you some money so that you can invest more.
Really, really great turnaround on that. So we got. And that.
We'll go on to, expenditures. Now expenditures, we don't have listed here. Tim has been working very diligently on some changes to chart of accounts, but, this exercise will be meeting thing with how we've done our budget. We budget our revenues by fund, our budget. That's been department. Each department is funding, with portions of the budget. And the region. Both. Funding source. Tell you where the money is coming from. One of these funds. You'll see building and grounds. Got that money. Got that money coming from. General fund. Don't really have this. I mean, still significant. Expenditures for this year, you'll see there's a lot of things. Last year, if you look at budget year. Budget. One of these things we not had lines last year, but. Lines. There's some kind of house things. But. Things like fertilizers. Lot of that. Outside the country. In ourselves. Some of that was. Maybe in here. Less than last year's budget. Building. That's down the line. Fertilizer. I think it's about department. Again, the only thing that was larger software licenses. So in the past, about the 9,000. I believe that is our. Operating. That's. It's the only software. That's licensing. And. Governments. Police. Also do. And obviously some audience. Policy with. Anybody else who have to. Process here. I mean. It's a contract for St. Charles County mix. All of that's involved in. What those are covered. We talked about. Following. Operations that will. Really expand our. Utilizing of software. Also provide. I've got access to. Have access to. I can see. Licenses and all that. Also. I guess nations that allows for. Us to better track assets. Lives. Potential. All of those things we have to meet. Which really. Possibilities are almost endless, but like we're putting a $25,000. That's about. Opting. Spend. If you were to. Activation of all of those modules. So we think that. Both in the. Service to residents and. $1,000.
Yeah, just to throw in there, I mean, investing in IT software. I. That. Increasing the budget on that. Numbers.
Those are moving forward.
I think I'm bouncing. I think I bounced to another. So. Going back to that, you see. I already. See. Building grounds. $1,000. $9,000. All eligible projects. I wouldn't confuse myself. Yeah, so. My point earlier about. Funding sources. All eligible funds. All eligible. Yeah, that's. Code and building inspections, that's the. Probably licensed. 9,000. As I kind of mentioned too, sending recreation, fences, just. There were just. That's black, stop person. We could have, also types. Overall, we'll be back to. All the instances. offset by. And the difference really. Revenues. All of these expenses. By revenues. That money is much more available. This report don't have, really, new funds. Maybe prosecutor. Prosecutor's office. I'm anticipating this time of year. Basically, it's, office costs. Cost of the key. There is the cost, which has never been captured. This. Never been captured in the prosecutor's office. You'll see when you have prosecutor. That position. This is the stuff. You move it because it's.
The assistant prosecutor.
The assistant to the assistant. I'm sorry, the assistant to the assistant. So the prosecutor's assistant is always going to be. And in part, that's because past that position. It's also going to help out other functions of the law. Currently, that person. Moving on to business development. Things really changed. Budget. Basically, this have some conversation. Todd is. All honesty, Todd is as a city planner. Also, development aspect. There's a lot of. Business development. And the infections. Development around our group. Also. Messages. Probably. Of those resources. Even though we haven't done much with that in the last. Actually, probably the largest, increase just. Operation. The ambulance. That might change. Bonds back by things like. All that. Other than that. Not. The biggest one outside of the biggest one, which is our staff. The operation. Is, all of our personnel expenses. Right. You'll see that last week, budget. This year we expect to. Insurance, auditors involved. Taxes. We expect to be staffs. I know I'm going through all this. Please. I will tell you. That's typically. Else. That's been difficult for a lot of cities. Coaching other staff right now is the only way. We want to talk about staffing.
Can we email you questions?
Notice that even if it's email.
There's like a company that was done, you're talking about those. That based on another compensation study, it's been. Why was that one?
That was the compensation. That was.
The operation.
That was done prior to my route in 21. I know that mayor. Compensation study. The compensation study was not just about skills. I did utilize these. It did really have. Actually steps. Not the step system, and I took the skills broadly. It also put also two. Pipelines and categories. Even divide that. We might not that as. Kind of took some of the. Positive. Socially. It did not change. Job description, not change. Just regularly be set. Compensation study.
A building cost of living. Cost of living.
The case study. Exactly. Studies.
But just in general, because I know you.
What we, so even though we did it, we paid. Looked at compensation, looked at jobs, pilots. Steps. That wasn't adopted. What we do with the municipal, it still doesn't mean salary. Surveys every year, so we still have a lot of. Not too much. All this. We know. On the average. I don't know what every individual ever sees. 5, 6, 7. So we know. That's. Not.
that we put-
Should all be that one. I don't know.
How we will, you know,
We'll have to talk to you. Isn't that one? That's just,
the budget,
that's just an estimate right now,
okay.
based on 10% increase. So. Who knows if we can find out. Documents now. So many changes. And
I assume that we will have a discussion about.
departments,
Mention something about.
no, I mean, like I said, we.
This is totally on the agenda.
So, but yeah, what we can do is. Eco section out. We haven't even done. Evaluation. Focus is.
Want to be respectful to folks on the audience and maybe after we go.
You can do it on, I mean, I can have to do that.
The other one that I would have from you is, I would be in favor of. This mayor. I don't think that's what, Mayor Godway wants to do, he wants that's either. So
I would agree. Yeah, if we like, especially for transparency's sake. Oh, yeah.
Is that what the comment about chart of accounts that we're not ever counting? You made a comment about, they're looking at maybe factoring there as a chart of accounts.
Oh, but so we don't, like those. We do have to count these raw.
Okay, I didn't understand it.
So by fund, our revenues are held. Better show us. Going through. Speaking of the audit, I'll let you know that soon. Don't have the number. 2023. But our budget. What we were taking. Percentage of the money, which I do. General fund. Part. We've gone down. That money. But what we asked is. Portion of the time is Staff and much staff in the work. Should run maintenance lab. There's plenty to that. On the part. Public works. Should run it. Inspection. Absolutely. That's my. Then to. Otherwise, the numbers. So, that, we have to be careful of. So we have to, put a number in. Approximately. Also. All the time parts of the application.
Is that audit number that's under CWA? That full? That was your two.
That's correct.
Okay, so you're saying that's just the CPA for. That's what you- That, and that's. Let's put it up for bid.
Looks part of this. Not allowed to.
It's been the same CPA.
This past year, we changed dates. Dates was for a long time. Last year. Spots to. Dates, not city dates. Spots to.
Oh.
Yes, and that's why it jumps up. It's usually pretty good.
Yeah, and we knew that, I mean, city dates is smaller. Wasn't a lot of fun. We got one person to look into it, so. Easy decision, but they've done us before, so that's.
So,
Good, I was gonna jump something else.
so I got a question related to the RBA I submitted back in May. Regarding the answer for ball field. We never really got any traction on that because there was some turnover. But in the RBA, the what is it? That would be, cost or unknown would be funded from the half-cent parks and storm. Request the pricing and push the pricing and have it added to the city capital improvement budget for FY24. Was that included in?
So you might recall that we started to talk about doing a capital. By 20. Plan, we pushed that off. Operating. The idea of what comes out of the town survey. Which is. And so this year, actually, so we're still gonna have a conversation about that and a number of other capital projects. Probably. This year's capital. Budget for the outside of the street. Guys, haven't had that conversation. We can always revisit that. We can either, I do have some numbers on that. But what our intention is all those projects together.
So I submitted this back in May as a press report action. I don't think it's ever made the agenda for any meeting. Is that something, so we can? It's something that I felt at the time and still feel that it's something that's significant and something that we should probably address because there is liability. Vehicles that are parked right next to the ball field. We've never had a discussion of it. So just for my own edification, if I submit an RV, what's the process for that to get to?
Well, I mean, if it's for the RBA process, we'd like to have a budget cycle.
We don't have to talk about it. I just,
Sure. I
if
mean,
I just,
typically we would wait. Plus, of this budget process, before the capital process. Capital. System. Schedule for capital. Just dog. And then you try to get the grass and not, especially in the summer. Have shades, solar sales for shades, shade building, the plaza, part of the country capital. Ready. There's a number of items that part of that capital. I should like to have it earlier. That was. Later and have. Section on it, but typically funding. That would follow the process of the capital. Process. I will say this, if you talk to. There is a liability. Obviously, risk to the people.
it's considering,
But I'm
consider to the people who are coming here for the ball.
sure, I mean, that-
The RBA was put there to have a discussion with the board about it. Clearly. Now, we talked about it a few times. Staff team was. I'd certainly like to kind of push it down until talk and bring it back up again next February. So May is. So for the,
It's
for the
it's
budgetary.
capital improvement. It'd be part of the capital discussion. That's this body talks about.
So I think if I'm hearing correctly, phrase, let me get this right. What I hear the question being is, within RBA's looking for a level of confidence from Alderman that anyone, was that RBA put in? Was it a correct RBA?
Right, it's a request for a budget item. Conversation of budget.
Requested the board action in the date. On considering.
So the conversation we had though, that budget item to consideration. Under the conversation.
That's why I'm bringing it.
And that's fine.
Could we,
So I mean, if you wanna drop in $50,000 for a giant net to go across the side of the field, yeah, write it on.
How do we know it costs $50,000?
can we,
I've got some numbers, but.
to move on a little bit, can we include that as not in the discuss? We're gonna go ahead and have a discussion. Then I would sign it as a. And I'd like to take a temperature of the board. We are into our regular meeting time. We're having good discussion and I do agree that this will probably be the workshop. Would you guys rather move to the regular meeting discussion there or?
Yeah. They got.
Yeah, okay. Then we'll put this discussion on hold for a moment. Staff communications, city attorney. City engineer.
You all should have my report. Essentially, a lot of concrete work going on. Town center plans, our survey is back. Those are probably the two biggest things that you know. Also, the field report, traffic reclassification will be turned in this week. It's filed and dismissed.
Even though he's at the entire workshop, city.
I have the sheet with you. And I will let you know that, we did get, bids this morning for Stump Road Estimate project. Those, opened this morning by the at five or six, five, contractors that, five lowest bid, which is not necessarily sponsor radio. Top three. Lowest bids. Six inch documentation, requirements. It was $1.9 million, which is $60,000 higher than estimated. So, considering the documentation, adding that to so we'll be doing that, doing those bids. Sure, that's provided on no doubt, that's no doubt is allocated to project. Right after the that project is. Notice there is some really work being done. The goals, when it has to be done, because we're changing the elevations. That's in all right of ways. That's utility firms that have to do that, in all right of way. The only thing that we're going to end up having to line that's going to have to be removed. I spoke to our project about that, why that was originally planned for by was responsible was that water line was new. Even though it's a water line, that water line was not going to be so there is going to be some additional costs that, but we are very lucky that we're running on the side of the roof. We're not going to have now. I understand this, so, we'll be having a conversation over how do we have numbers to them, and us. Essentially, which we will not see, so, all in all, we're very excited. Hitting it right now with a lot of the estimate.
What's the next bit?
The next one, it's. Yeah, we have, they want to, excessively.
I just want to say, I've had the off and on responsibility of managing some pretty hefty budgets in my career, and this is a pretty, this is, there's a lot of complexity to this. It's not easy, but you guys make it look pretty easy, and great job on this. Really appreciate what you guys put into it. Briefing it to the level that's the did.
Favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Perfect. Well, I'm normally. Yeah.